time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is this child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising, and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, 'And you, Bethlehem in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel.'" Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. And on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chest, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
Getting over a bit of a cold, and so my voice is going. So in the event that my voice goes, I'm going to randomly point to one of you and you can finish my sermon for me. When I was growing up, one of the things that I absolutely loved was going to a fireworks display. There's something about seeing lights just bursting into the sky in the darkness. And that moment when the firework goes off and you see this tiny little streak just going up into the sky and the anticipation of what that firework is going to be. And then suddenly, boom, here's some lights and a pattern that you never expected, over and over and over again. There's something exceptionally mesmerizing about watching those lights burst into the darkened sky. And I suspect that Jesus' birth and the celebration of Epiphany is a lot like God's firework bursting into the darkness of our world. Isaiah began this morning by saying to us, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is revealed unto you." He's calling his people at that time to look for light in the midst of darkness and despair. And I suspect that he calls us to do the same thing in our own time. If we listen to the gospel for this morning, we hear the familiar story of the visit from the Magi. They come to see the Christ child, and they're about 3 months late. They're always late. Somehow they can never make it on time to Bethlehem, but they make it nonetheless. But before they get to Bethlehem, they stop in the place where you would expect to find a newborn king, at the palace. They stopped and asked Herod, "Where is born this new king of the Jews?" Now, a little background about Herod. Herod was not a nice person. Herod was a really bad person. Herod was a puppet king who ruled Israel for the Roman Empire. And he believed that he was divinely inspired to lead these people, and any threat to his authority was swiftly met with violence. And so the part of our gospel that got left out today was that Herod sends his guards to Bethlehem to slaughter all the male children under the age of 3 months. It's the Feast of the Holy Innocents that we celebrated in the church a couple days ago. But here was a tyrant who wanted absolute power and was willing to do anything to hold on to his power. As the Magi stop by him, and he pretends to be good and says, well, go and find this king and let me know so that I can come and pay him homage. Well, we know that that's not exactly what he wants to do, because this little baby is a threat to Herod. And Herod wants to hold on to the little bit of power that he has. And so the wise men, they find the child, they offer their gifts, and I love how that gospel ends. They go home by another way. You see, I am convinced that when you encounter Christ's light, you are changed so much so that you cannot go back the way you came. When you encounter that divine presence, that bursting of light like a firework into our world, the only response that we can give is to be changed, is to go home by a different route. Because you see, our world is often filled with darkness. Our world sometimes feels like that night sky for the bursting of fireworks. What God says to us is that there will always be that light shining even in the midst of the deepest darkness. And Epiphany reminds us that even when things seem to be their worst, God is there, even in the darkness. The interesting thing, from Herod's time to ours, not a whole lot has changed. We still have those who would like to hold on to power at all costs. All we need to do is look at the circus that's happening in Washington, and that tells the whole story. That's a sermon for a whole other time. But not much has changed in Jesus' time. What has changed is that the light has come into the world. And we have seen the glory of this light. We have seen what is possible when that light is allowed to shine, not just in Bethlehem, but in each one of us. We are called to be bearers and followers of that light, to look for God's fireworks bursting over and over again in our world. Because it's so easy to look at the news or social media and despair of how bad things are. But how many of us look for the things that are going well, that are going right? How many of us seek out the good news, or how many of us are willing to share that good news? This past week, against my better judgment, I got would be quite the right word, bribed into taking the polar bear plunge in New York. If you know me, that took a lot of bribing. I did it. There's video to prove it. But the thing that I found absolutely fascinating was as we ran into the water with 400 of my closest friends, when we came out, there were so many people who were there with blankets and towels and hot soup to just take care of random strangers. You know I needed quite a few blankets and a lot of hot soup. But that outpouring of love, that outpouring of kindness, reminded me that there is still lots of light in our world when we look for it. There are those people out there who are willing to be kind, to offer a gentle word, to say and speak truth in the midst of injustice. And you and I are called to be bearers that testify to that light. You and I are called to be like those fireworks that illuminate the darkness and point others towards Christ, that light. So my challenge for you this week, my sisters and brothers, is to find the light in your world. Look for those places where darkness may seem to be and find Christ's light bursting once more into our world. And when we encounter that light, we're called not just to share it, but to bear it to others. To let your light so shine before others that they may see your good works and give glory to God in heaven. My sisters and brothers, there's lots of light in our world. All we need to do is find it And when we encounter it, all we can do is go back home changed, transformed, and to go home in a different way. Arise, shine, for your light has come and the glory of the Lord has been revealed.